Hello, good evening. Just a very quick video while I'm waiting for the washing machine to finish. Right, just now I came across a couple of videos on YouTube. I was watching a live stream and I saw a couple of videos that were made earlier, and they're just very short ones, but they're sort of showing scenes from Shanghai. Well, not just scenes, but sounds. So apparently it's people on their balconies all at the same time screaming and hollering because they're in lockdown and they're not allowed to go out even to buy food. I believe that's what I got from it anyway. And my immediate response in my mind was, no, stop screaming and hollering, do the opposite. Just, often people say just ignore what you do. The people you don't ignore the people around you who are causing problems. You ignore the ones who are governing, right? Because for them it's all about power and control. So there are a lot of things going on at the moment, and it's all designed for power and control. I'll give you an example. I saw an article this morning, and it's talking about passports. So people are trying to get away for Easter, and their passports are showing up. They've tried to renew their passports, and the passports are showing up too late, so they're missing their flights. And another one, lots going on with the airports. People are stuck at airports, missing their flights, etc. And all along I've been saying this is all by design. Now, going back 2 years when we first, excuse the lighting, I can't be bothered to get up, so I'm using my phone. I'm recording on my tablet, but I'm using my phone to give me some lighting, so I've got the torch on. So please excuse the lighting. I hope I'm not scaring anybody. Right, so a couple of years ago when we first entered the age of coronavirus, let's say, I had people, these people are no longer in contact with me. They just drifted away. But I had people actually saying to me, because I was defiant and I said I'm never wearing a mask, because I saw through the narrative basically. And so I said, I'm not going to wear a mask. If I have to starve, then I'll starve. If it means having to put one on to go into the shop to buy food. And I had people sort of pleading with me saying, oh, just put it on. You don't have to buy into it. You don't have to believe it. But just put it on so you can go and buy food. I said, I'm not doing it. And that was a decision that I made 2 years ago. And I've stood by it. I've never needed to put on a mask to buy food. I wouldn't degrade myself in that kind of way. I always come back to personal development, but you don't wait until you're in a situation to try and figure out what you're going to do. You plan ahead, and you know what you're going. So you know what you're going to do when certain situations arise. So I've said that I will starve before I degrade myself by complying, when I know full well that it's just everything is all about power and control. When the powers that ought not to be here are hearing these people screaming in Singapore for food, because that's the first thing they're going to deprive you of, food. Because who knows what a person will do when they get so desperate and there's nothing to eat. The adrenaline rush that these demons, these, if you want to call them human beings, these leaders, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, let's say. but the adrenaline rush that it must give them to hear human beings screaming and hollering and begging them to allow them to go and buy food, begging them for their freedom. For me, it's degrading. And I mean, yes, people will say, oh, but you don't know what you'll do in that situation. I do know. I would sooner starve than beg anyone to, to sort of like fall down and beg someone, please let me get food. I'm starving. I will die of starvation. I'm telling you, if you are willing to do that, you dispossess them of their power, and they will give you everything that you want. That's how this game works. It is a game. If you do not, if you like fall down and worship them, fall down and beg them for anything, you will get what you want, because the only way that they can get power, adulation, whatever it is they want, the only way they can get that is by getting people to comply. And so I'll give you an example, and I used this in one of my previous videos a couple of weeks ago, where I said about the energy bills. So they're hiking up the prices, and then the government's going to say, but we can give you £150 off, or however much they're giving. And I used the example, I said it's like someone stealing your purse and then giving you back £50, and you're grateful. The one thing you never surrender is your dignity. I don't like to give advice, but I'm telling you, I can only speak for myself in saying, I mean, some people lately believe that my self-development program is to do with me sort of covering for the fact that I don't have a husband, I don't have children, I don't really have anybody in my life, and it's a solo journey. So they look at it as weakness. It's not weakness, it's strength. I've been doing this for, I'm going to say, more than 30 years now. When I sat down with pen and paper and drew up my list of qualities that I wanted to develop and qualities that I needed to get rid of. I've said recently that the qualities that are my best qualities are the ones that most people would think are my worst qualities that I need to get rid of. You would never catch me screaming and hollering and begging anybody to give me food, to allow me to go and buy food. I would never degrade myself like that. And as I've said, I can only speak for myself. And from my position as one who practices self-development, I can guarantee you these people who are screaming in Shanghai, they never imagined that they would be in a situation like this. They didn't plan for it. I don't know what, I mean, if anybody was to ask me for advice, there was no advice that I could give, because it would be like asking someone to go and play the violin in front of an audience when they've never actually picked up a violin or even had lessons. It would be impossible. So you cannot, if there is no preparation, you cannot go out with a plan. In other words, if there is no plan, then what are you going to do? How do you go forward if you've not thought about the future in the worst case, thinking in terms of the worst case scenario? It's just impossible. And so there are things going on now, and I'm here thinking, bring it on. Just do your worst. Because I tell you honestly, It's not until you're in a situation and you're actually acting upon your word that people take you seriously. But I can tell you for nothing, I would sooner starve than be begging, screaming, and hollering to be allowed to go and buy food. I would never give anybody that level of power over me. But like I said, I can only speak for myself. And in doing this video, my other videos, I'm call it food for thought if you want, pun intended. Right, so I'm going to leave it there. Have a good night. Take care. Bye bye.